Okay, we will get started. And tonight, we're actually going to talk about karma, the law of cause and effect. Don't tense up with that. I know it comes across sometimes as a negative thing. It's actually extremely empowering. And that's the angle I want to take with it tonight. So, just as spring is starting to sprout and new ideas, a new season of how we can start to integrate back into the world. Hopefully this will give you some things to sit with. So let's just start by getting here. Get comfortable, close the eyes. Just pausing first, dropping into your body. Feeling the breath. It moves from the inside out. And as you come more here and present with yourself, check out what's going on in the brain, in the mind. Take a peek without getting attached to anything, without getting swept away. And just do a quick walkthrough and see what you're working with. Remembering that this type of practice is a lifetime's worth of work. There will always be something, so drop the agenda or the expectations of this moment needing to be any different than what it is. Maybe on the next breath, breathe in slowly, deeply, letting that belly round out, breaking down any holding, creating soft belly. Even in moments of the talk throughout your day, if you feel your gut react, clench, respond to the current conditions. Let's take a breath in, just letting it round out, creating soft belly where you let go of the holding. You wash that tension off using the breath. Feel your awareness, your attention is inward. Stay more in, tuck away, feel at home. Breathe in through the nose. Exhale, release, and just peek out a bit, open the eyes. Take a moment if you want to share how you're doing in this moment. Feel free to put it in the chat box. You don't have to, but kind of giving everyone a chance to show that it's kind of across the board. You get a little bit of everything when coming in and sitting, especially on a Monday night after the start of a new week. Tense. So tonight I'm wanting to talk about karma in the sense of we've been practicing and something I've brought up in the past since we've been doing the beginner meditation course in January. So we're coming at the end of March. So we've been trucking along quite nicely. And it's all about being in the present moment and just being here. The only thing real is right now. The past has already happened and the future isn't guaranteed. And so, and that's a constant uphill battle that you have to, I don't want to call it a battle, but you are continuously, it's a lifetime's worth of work to remind yourself to come back here. It's the human condition that the mind wanders off and it stresses out and it plans and it thinks and it likes to stay busy. But with karma and where it comes in, you may have heard the phrase, it's never too late to start again or to try, or it's never too late to begin. Practicing present karma is choosing today, no matter how yesterday went, no matter how the last year has gone, couple of years have gone. Let's say the last year, because we're all kind of neutralized there. And this last year, no matter what has happened, because probably a lot of that has been out of your control, out of our control. Tomorrow you can choose to start to set a different path. You can choose to start to relate to whatever is holding you back in a different way. Present karma is tasting the mind states, the current fruits of what has come into being from past experiences, like a job. After graduation, you take a job for a certain period of time, and then you move on to something else at the start of that job versus the end of that job. There are different fruits that were born, that were created inside you, that you develop to add to your life skills, to your traits of what makes you who you are. And it's in those different jobs and different locations, even if it's the same job, just a different branch, a different hub. There's a sense of being able to start fresh, like almost like we talked about last week, and with our expectations, that idea of a new season, a new chapter. But that's the starting line. When that chapter ends, no matter the experience, there is some fruits from it that you are going to carry with you. Those experiences created you into the evolution of where you are in that present moment when you're reflecting. So checking in the present karma, how are we in the current moment? Checking out the current fruits from what has already been. And then going one step further in assessing if there's something you're able to change, or you're ready to change, or you're ready to make a shift. It's in the present moment that we have the choice to change the trajectory on whatever the situation is at the time, whatever the human experience you're going through at the time. And it's pretty powerful. Thich Nhat Hanh, a Vietnamese Buddhist monk, he said, "My actions are my only true belongings. I can't escape the consequences for my actions. My actions are the ground on which I stand. Only true possession for him is karma. So everything leading up to this present moment has built all of that up. Every previous condition, this talk tonight is conditioning the next moment after this. And so with that being said, we can, once we become present to it, or once an individual becomes present to it, they can start to make different choices. They can start to taste those current fruits, the current mind states, noticing, almost taste testing as you're cooking. What do you need to add in? What do you need to take away? And as you work with the mind in that way, in the current conditions that you're living in, the human experience that you've created around you, because after 18, we are responsible for ourselves. And I say that when you look at it at this angle, through this lens, you very much have the power to make choices, to change things if it's time to change things. Fruits of karma. So like regular fruits, you have wholesome fruits and you have unwholesome fruits. The wholesome fruits of karma, of your actions, of the things that you do and how you interact in the world. The wholesome fruits are generosity, love, and wisdom. The unwholesome fruits from karma, so depending on your actions, your motivations behind them, the unwholesome fruit is greed, hatred, and delusion. Delusion is not being present. Delusion is not being with the current reality for what it is. So wholesome fruits, generosity, love, wisdom. Unwholesome fruits, greed, hatred, delusion. The unwholesome fruits produce suffering. Greed, hatred, and delusion. Those are root causes of anyone's suffering. The wholesome fruits produces love, a tenderness. So, and that's all based on our actions and the things that we need to do, not just what we think, not even so much as what we say, but yes, we do have to be very careful with our words. They are powerful in themselves, but it's how you do your things each day in a way that's most true to form to you and causing the least amount of suffering. So in yoga classes, at the beginning of classes, we tend to tell y'all to set an intention for your class. Intentions in themselves are neutral. I don't want to say it's putting hopes out there and where you want it to go. Intentions are more so connecting just the heart with the mind in how you wish to be in the moment. There's no agenda, there's no expectations. So that's what intention is. But the motivations associated with the intentions is not neutral. So what's motivating someone with this intention? Motivations, when you look at it, is really going to tell you which direction the bus is going. Wholesome fruits or unwholesome fruits. Because here's the key, and this is why it matters in our meditation practice. The mind is the forerunner of all things. Before we do anything, before everything's already going up here, and we've got to check in with it on a regular basis. It is something that needs to almost be babysat nonstop. It can never be fully left alone because it can get really violent up there very quickly. Especially depending on what is just happening in life right now. If things are going differently at the workplace, personal life, etc. And the reason why also coming into the present moment is realizing this is the only time you get to make the choice to change things. Once the moment passes, and then you're dealing with a new set of consequences, it's too late to make the choice to change things in order to get rid of that. You can't cancel that out. The Dalai Lama said, There are only 2 days in the year that nothing can be done. One is called yesterday and the other is called tomorrow. So today is the right day to love, to choose to believe, to do, to live. And so even if it's just been a really hard go of it and you've just slowly been trucking along as best you can, keep choosing to truck along. It may look like that. Eventually, you choose. Here's the thing, the cup can be half empty or half full. Bottom line, it's refillable. You can change the situation. You can change it at any time. Current state, you can assess it, but then you can always choose to change it so that what's happening moving forward from that very moment could possibly be different and reduce the suffering, keep you in the wholesome fruits. Is that making sense for everybody? Because I know a lot of people think that, okay, awesome. I know people think that karma can be just kind of the big, what people deserve, a punishment, things of that nature. It's not a blame game. Don't see it like that. Use it as an empowering tool to know that karma, your actions, will condition the next moment. So you do have somewhat of a control of how you live your life based on how present you are and how connected it keeping yourself out of that moment of suffering. Because it's in suffering where there's that greed, that delusion, that hatred. And that's no way to live. And our spirits don't need to worry about that type of weight if we can help it and if we can be present and stay with it. Every action has a cause and a consequence. There's no escaping that. This is just one of those laws of nature that's out there. Marianne Williamson, I love the idea she gave me about the thought process about 6 years ago. She said, you know, the universe is self-correcting and karma is weaving into that. That's kind of how I think I hate it when people say everything's going to work out or it all turns out good in the end. So if it's not good, it's not the end. But you do have an opportunity. It's not done. You're still breathing. You're here. You're present, even if the current conditions are very uncomfortable. As you keep turning inward, you're going to be ready to start to change and shift. You are going to be ready to do something different. And that in itself is extremely empowering. And as you start to get into the habit of doing that more and choosing that option again and again to be present, to make sure every step of the way you're going in the right direction versus going several steps and then realize you need to backtrack and you miscalculated. Like I said, it's a lifetime's worth of work. Each moment conditions the next, and our mental factors color and condition our experience in the ones that follow. That's how life unfolds, one moment after the next. And it's not something that is out of reach. You just have to come, put your feet on the ground, come to a seat, go through those 6-point postures sets that we did in the beginner series, 5-10 minutes to drop in, even if you are in a board meeting or you're going to high pressure situation. If you're able to take 3 minutes even in the room and just zone in on your breath and be there with your attention, with that kind of awareness, you're able to check out the motivations. You're able to check out that true intention of almost that blueprint of how you want it to turn out. There's no guarantees that it will turn out that way. Some of the more bitter fruits, I think everybody can maybe relate to this in some way, shape, or form, however big or small, are regrets. Regrets can be tasted. Regrets tend to pop up because it's an action that, if given the opportunity, we do something different. So many times regret is that karmic fruit from a specific action. And everyone, if they are very honest with themselves, and I understand live with no regrets, I think the whole idea behind that blanketed statement, because that's a very shallow statement to make, but if you unpack it enough, I feel live with no regrets, meaning don't just be wild and enjoy it and you only live once. Live with no regrets in the sense of living true to yourself, checking in with yourself each day, especially if there was a really intense situation. Instead of numbing yourself out and pretending like it didn't happen, process things when you're able to process things. That is how you are wielded into the evolution of you, of who you're eventually supposed to be. Every moment, every day is a new opportunity to be different, to be to change the script, because a lot of times we can feel stuck. That's the big point here tonight, is to help you not feel stuck. You can change that type of karmic energy to where your actions can start to be more beneficial to you, whether that's changing a job, changing shifts, home, getting a dog, maybe pet decisions. And the thing is with regrets, that's nothing we can deny. Like, that's a very specific bitter fruit. So even if we do something that maybe was not the wisest choice, regret kind of keeps us from not really getting away with it, even internally. Like in our hearts, we know, whether it's talked about or it's known, you know, in your heart, you're kind of put yourself in check in a way. But even with regrets, we can actually change things. We can choose to make the shift so that doesn't happen again. And it all starts with being with past impressions in a very honest and mindful way. Start with everything that you have right now that's imprinted in the mind and that's fresh on the mind, and open to the reality of that landscape. Because once you lay out all the pieces and you see where you are, you will start to notice the suffering, where it's hurting you, where it could be hurting others. And that's where you're able to shift and change things in your actions and how you do things. The motivations evolve, the intentions evolve. Intentions aren't mantras. Intentions are almost wordless. It's messages from the heart, I feel, are what the intentions are. It's what can filter down through the mind and make it through and hitting the heart in the right way. I feel those are more the intentions that you want to try to live by. Here's a reflection question for you. So let's say you're at this juncture, and let's break it down in that moment, and you're making a decision to change things. The question you want to ask yourself: where does this action lead? And do I want to go there? Where does this action lead? And do I want to go there? So when we check in with these decisions, it would be really ideal for those who have the nature of having those hot tempers and very fast responses and almost um, impulses. Let's say impulses, people who tend to have those bad habits if they aren't put in check. This would really benefit them to work through the impulses. Where is this action going to lead me? A lot of times, anybody who lives with a lot of regret, they were in really bad habits, bad patterns for years, their whole life, passed down, mirrored from their parents, usually. Those type of behaviors. These are the type of things that would be really beneficial in those realms. Because again, our motives are going to let us know which direction the bus is going. And we've got to think about, do I want to do this action? Is this something I want to do? Where is it going to take me? So it teaches you to look down the road and to check in to hopefully see if you're going to get caught up in something, if there's going to be some bondage, you're going to produce that that greed, that hatred, that delusion, depending on what choice you make in the action that you take. Because we need to take responsibility of our lives, our actions, our intentions. Because when we do that and we do live with more intention, I believe life around you in the current life really starts to open up for you because you're more receptive, not sensitive in a negative connotation, sensitive in the sense of you're able to feel it all and notice things as it comes and goes. And you're able to, it's almost watching a movie or watching a clip at really slow speed. So you almost get every single frame. It doesn't just whisk by and the movie's over in 2 hours. You get to see every single little frame. And that is empowering because then you really do have a little bit more control of what's happening in and around your life. Albert Hubbard said, men are not punished for their sins, but by them. And it's important that we have the wisdom and understanding to know that all situations have causes and conditions behind them. I know that's very confused out in the world right now. Accountability, all of that is kind of a little thrown out of whack. I will always say be careful how much of that you consume in one day. When you sit with the mind, are you able to notice how active it is? And depending on the level of activity, it's more of a reflection for you. I want you to see what's your attitude towards that. Is it impatient? Is it just kind awareness? Is there compassion? Patience? Many people would have the response and they get tripped up on the phrase, oh, my mind's so busy. I can't do this. I can't do this. I'm doing this wrong. I thought I'd be better by now. I thought I'd be better by now. You can't really be better at meditation. You can get more comfortable and settled in your practice and knowing that the turbulence is going to come and go. But it's not a matter, there's no really way of judging it to be better one way or the other. That narrative doesn't really apply to this kind of practice because the mind is so spontaneous. Neuroscience, they're just now cracking into it in the last 10, 15 years. So the next 100 years of science and education is probably going to start to look a lot different in the things that they're learning, because the mind is so vast. I feel that's kind of where the mystery of life, that's some of those layers. And so when we have compassion for our mind and how much it works, remembering it's a mind that doesn't know peace, right? We're always working towards that. You wouldn't be here tonight if you weren't looking for some kind of peace. And it's important that you learn to be gentle with yourself. And as you do this and you choose that little bit of self karma and how you take care of yourself, in turn, you will take care of others in the same way, because you start to realize how important that is. Human to human, spirit to spirit, to take turns being there for each other and holding each other up. And if anything came of this last year, I feel maybe our closer contacts, those that are interacting with us more on the day-to-day basis, I'm hoping those type of relationships have only strengthened for everyone. It's been an opportunity of helping each other out, being there for each other, especially nearby when we haven't been able to travel to get to other places. So instead of thinking you're powerless against the mind, in those moments when we sit and the mind is really hyperactive, you wish you were better, you wish the mind wasn't doing this, that little resistance is there. Instead of thinking that you're powerless against it, see instead there's a bit of liberation with the potential of the mind in every moment in the choice it can make moving forward. So the mind can be very smart. You can help it make some really good choices if you just slow it down and not let it run away from you. Because when it runs away from you and you aren't pausing to think before you act, is when you start to create those fruits of hatred, of regret, all that bitterness that you wish you could have done it differently. And this is how you can stop that script, still deal with anything in the past that's maybe like that, but moving forward from this point, it should be starting to get a little different. Karmic opportunity is right here in the present moment. So even if you feel karma has been a little brutal to you, your karma is what you do, not what happens to you. What happens to you is someone else's karma. Again, trust that the universe has that self-correcting way about it. That is a very serious and real truth, that it does circle back around. It does. That's just the law of cause and effect. We just have to let go of those expectations of that agenda of trying to control that. Trust that karma has its way of doing things. And that's when that karmic opportunity right now in the present, when we act now how you would hope someone else would act towards you, there's that golden rule. And that's how it can weave in to the idea of karma. Presently, you're choosing to act and behave in the situation as you would hope others would act and behave. Because we're all in these different roles temporarily, whether it's your job, relationships, friends, the seasons, the events of life, grief, anger, it all eventually evaporates to some degree. And as we practice, we work on chiseling it away a bit more, again, for the whole idea of reducing the amount of suffering. That's why it's important to look at what our karmic decisions are starting tonight, moving forward. Where is this action going to take me? Do I really want to go there? So don't worry about revenge or punishment. Those are some stumbling blocks in the mind. You can get really tripped up on those things. That can drive you to the greed, to that hate, to that delusion. That's that energy you want to stay away from. So don't try to get that revenge or that punishment. You're getting in the way of the whole natural process and order of life. Their karmic fruit, just like your karmic fruit, will come back. Trust that. And then that keeps your mind from harping on those negative thoughts. Are y'all feeling that all come together and seeing it a little bit differently? So it's not a blame game. So the positive thing when we are moving forward, everything you send out, you will get back. So even if you weren't mindful before in your actions, I can say for me, I was an extremely angry kid, very hurt, unable to process and deal as more stuff kept on coming. And so I was very careless, thoughtless, a lot of different things from about age 16, 17 to age 23. Even into practicing yoga, it took a couple of years for it to really soften me. And I started becoming more mindful, and my practice went off the mat into everyday life. So you can choose, even up to this point, if things have not been the best, you can start to recalibrate, change the dials a little bit. Your beliefs may change, your intentions may change, your motivation may change. That's fine. But connect with that so you are propelled forward in the proper way, with the right momentum, with the right energy behind it. Consciousness is the lens that we see things through. So start looking at your responses, at your current conditions in each moment. And this is where it starts to illuminate that power of choice. You get to decide right here, right now, if things shift. And that's so much power if you just know that. And just respect the laws of karma, because it can get bitter quickly. And then it takes some extra work to work out any of that bitterness, especially if it lingers and there's an aftertaste of regret, all those other things. And that's the stuff we would like to try to avoid. And I feel everybody, like I said, in this last year, everybody I feel has been pretty leveled. I have 2 karma quotes for y'all. Karma is not a bitch, it's a mirror. And I have a dark side. It could be the depression, but the other one is karma is pronounced haha, fuck you. I thought that one's pretty funny. Even my grandmother likes that one. So I think that's so funny. Last reflection question I want you just to have, maybe make it on a card. Maybe you let this be more of ceremony and ritual on Sunday nights, Monday mornings. What are you doing with this precious life of yours? What are you doing with this precious life? You do get to decide right here, right now. When we are able to transform our motivations, it not only changes our lives, but it changes those around us. We have to be careful about how much we are driven or motivated by greed, hatred, or delusion, those unwholesome fruits. Because the more you're driven by greed, the more we have to manipulate the world around us to get what we want. So we really have to force some things. And that starts to cause suffering, not just for you, but everyone else involved in the situation and everybody that it affects. I think we've seen the massive power of the ripple effect, especially now that there's social media and there's massive networks like that. We have to respect that for what it is in size and capacity, and really just it's a daily choice. Every post, what are you going to contribute to that platform that's more positive, bringing in more the light. And here's the thing. The more we're driven and motivated by greed, the more we'll have to manipulate the world around us to get what we want. And when we manipulate the world around us to do that, we start to feel alienated even more, separated from humanity, because we have made it all about us and not the greater good. When you hear the word humanity, that's all of us, the whole globe. That is where the level we are one. We are one. We are one and the same. And here's the other thing on the other side of the coin. Somebody manipulated the situation. The people, as they realize they had been manipulated, they also feel alienated. And when there's that feeling between the two, there's a mutual distrust that causes both sides to manipulate even more. And so it just compounds and compounds. So that's why we have to be careful about our choices and really decide, where is this taking me? Do I want to go there? Self-preservation is huge right now in the world. Now, on the other hand, I'm going to bring you back into the light, and then we're going to sit. The more our actions are motivated by generosity, loving kindness, compassion, wisdom, the more we can relax and open up to the world. We aren't clenched. The more you feel genuinely connected with people, the less you feel inclined to manipulate them or use them in any way. Consequently, the more inclined they will be to trust and open up to you. And in each situation, each relationship, each client, patient, whatever it looks like for you, every interaction throughout your day, check in with your intention and motivation. That's why a regular practice, sitting practice, even first thing in the morning, is so sustaining long term, because you're continuously checking in. And that is how we survive this human life. And as we're more mindful, we are able to start to pick and find all the beauty between everything, find the poetry of life. Any questions? I know that was a lot. I'm sorry, but it's a meaty talk, but a really good one, I feel, to hopefully just maybe to reignite your flame a little bit on some ideas, old vision boards, old things that you keep on coming back to, right? So move around, take a sip of water, stretch out that back for a second. And then we're going to sit, put into practice a little bit of what we talked about. Okay. Find a comfy seat, put the pad and pen away, anything that's been nearby, maybe one more small sip of water just to keep the mouth moist. And breathe in here. Coming home to your body. Giving yourself permission to go inside. Just listen to here and now. What truth is there? What is the landscape in the mind? The expectations you've been working with today, having to fill your motivations behind your actions. Was there intention behind the actions? Feeling your breath become really natural, letting it just breathe you. Allow your awareness to first settle into the body. A slow X-ray, a body scan. Noticing tension, feeling the pressure on the chair, on your cushion. Notice any tension in the brow, around the eyes, the mouth. Any sounds in your ear. Experience the collarbone, the shoulders, the hands. What have these hands done that is good? Hands, the very definition of holding. Breathe into the fingertips. Bring your awareness to the top of the torso, your lungs, the chest, noticing how the body expands and then empties. Go down into the belly. Is it soft, spacious? Notice the pelvis, your seat, any pressure, legs, hips, folding, knees. It's not so much about thoughts or images, it's your direct experience in all of these places. Go back to places I missed, the tongue, the throat. You have a body. Take in this incredible organism. Allow yourself this moment to let the breath breathe. The breath animates this body, giving it life, vibrancy, energy. The rising and falling of the belly. Allow awareness to follow breath. Feel body. Resting in kind awareness, these objects of meditation. When you notice the mind wandering away, gently bring it back. No need to judge, no need to struggle. Just breathe. Be gentle. Keep softening. And are you breathing? Check the body. Has it tensed up? Take care of yourself just so you can keep practicing. Any movement in the body should be slight, quiet, not destructive. Feel the river of vibration in your body. Feel the flow. Deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Check back in with yourself in these final moments. Tasting all of these mind states, your current conditions. Let go of what you need to let go of. So when you wake up in the morning, you can arrive. Any benefit from the sitting tonight, breathing together, practicing together. May that energy go out into the world. May we be willing beings in that effort of self-correction, reading in the goodness and the light and the poetry of this life. May you be happy. May you be free from suffering. May you know peace.